All right. Hey, that was quick. Hey, guys. Welcome to Nerdcast number 62. We're going to reflect on South Park Season 19. I'm your host, Brian Martinez, and I'm joined by Scott. It's just the two of us. But I think that is more than enough. We're going to talk South Park stuff. Allison, you're dead to us because you're not here. Since you are en route to Calgary right now. It's like an 8-hour drive from Saskatoon, so I can see that we're not going to see her until tomorrow. So what are you going to do?
Oh, dang.
And
who else is dead to us? Let's go down the list of all the people that are dead to us.
Okay, so Hannah's dead
because
she has this thing called life, and she has to work jobs and shit. And
so
I'm like, fuck that, Hannah. You should be living off the system and doing shows. That's what I'm saying.
Right. She's the worst, isn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. And let me see. Considering we're doing an episode about South Park, I tried to get Mike on because he's a big fan, but he's not around, and he's dead to us too.
Yeah. Damn foreigners.
Yeah.
Always the foreigners, man.
It's always the foreigners. You limey. Is that bad? Is limey a racist term? I don't know.
Yeah, who cares? He's dead to us, right?
I feel like I haven't talked to you in forever, and I'm mad, and I'm taking it personal. And who else? Oh, Max. Okay, so Max has an excuse because his sister was in a car accident. Yeah. So his sister's not dead to us. Yes. Max is a little bit dead to us, but that's okay. He was he's partly dead. He's mostly dead, which is partly alive.
Yeah, well, he's a gamer, so he's dead. Gamers are dead, So there's that.
That's right. Gamers are dead.
It's so cathartic. I love that we're doing this.
Just getting it out of my system. As I drink all this coffee.
Allison yet? Yeah, Allison's already. Yeah, we do have there. Okay.
Oh my God. Okay, so, but we're gonna talk a little bit about South Park Season 19. So, before we get into it, I wanted to say that I actually don't watch a lot of South Park, and I know it's like it's weird because I got into it in the beginning, like early stages. Like I remember, is it the first episode with the anal probe? Isn't that like the very first episode?
Oh God, I don't remember. So long ago.
I think so, yeah. And I watched those and I thought, oh, this is pretty funny, but I never really, I don't know, like it just, I didn't commit to watching it too much. Yeah. And I know that there were some good ones, like what was the one where they were all like, Let's Fighting Love? It's the one where they're all like in these, you know what I'm talking about? It's like it's a Imagination Land, I think it's called. And that was like a 3-part episode, right?
It sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm one of those people that was never full in on it. I was very fit, spurts and fits here and there, but never watched it consistently. Yeah.
And I watched the movie too. Like the bigger, longer and uncut movie. So I mean, I certainly think it's a good show, but I didn't and I didn't watch it, like I wasn't a devout follower or anything. Yeah. But this season, Season 19 is of a specific, I think, it's specifically worthwhile of a discussion because, first of all, for Matt and Trey, I think it's the only season where the whole thing is like doing an arc. It's like the whole thing is a singular arc, the whole season. And they never really did that before. Most of the time, their stuff was like episodic, like it would just be like a one-off,
right, or they topical type stuff.
Yeah, or they might do like one about like like that's a couple of episodes long, like the Imagination Land one. But yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Ridnart Hidletim. Let's Fighting Love was Fun Times with Weapons. That's right. It's when they got weapons, and that's true. But anyway, so, but this is the first time that they actually gave like a whole season to a specific kind of like talking point, and I loved it. But not only because it was fucking hilarious, but I like what they were talking about. Yeah. And I have a couple of like I know that the South Park's been discussed, and it's actually this season I think has created a ton of memes, especially in the Gamergate and Justice Warrior community.
Yeah, the Your PC Bro. Are you PC Bro thing? That was huge for a while. So,
oh, it's still going on. And sorry, I'm drinking coffee. But no, that's still going on. But not only that, but I think that like there's another meme. It's called "That's an Ad," and that's basically what's his name? Jimmy. You know, who's the guy on the crutches? You know, Scott. Are you there, Scott?
Oh, what the fuck? Sorry, dude. I got auto muted. That was weird.
Oh, that was weird. Okay.
Yeah, very strange.
Yeah, no. The Jimmy. He's the guy on the crutches, right? And he's got the special ability of like, you know, knowing ads from non-ads. And I think that that's another meme that was going around. Let me see if I can get Liberal Lunacy. Liberal Lunacy, do you want to come in? Because there's only two of us, so we can always use a third party to talk to.
Yeah, it's a sausage party up in here.
Yeah.
We need some gender balance.
We need a clam. I will send you a clam.
Wow. Subtle.
We don't need a clam, but
Brian Subtle Martinez reporting for duty.
I'm going to put a link for you if you want to come in. If not, that's okay. We can do this. So, no, but there was the bit with Jimmy. That was another meme, and I have a thought about that. So, what the
you're very
oh
popular.
My god, no. I need to.
Today is such a mess. Today is such a mess. It's okay, right?
So, like, okay, here's my theory. I was thinking about it's all right. I was thinking about the episode of around the whole like arc about ads,
right? And
the ads on the internet, and people felt like maybe that was a little bit out of nowhere. Like, how does that relate to journalism? How does that relate to like the whole story with the news anchors and how they were trying to fight against the ads and how the ads were becoming self-aware and all that. And it was like a funny narrative by itself, but I have this thinking about it. It's kind of interesting. Okay. Have you ever been
going with this?
Yeah. If you've been to like these like okay, let's look at the big websites that are often fueled and backed by social justice attitudes that you see circulating on the internet, like spaces like Facebook and Twitter and like all the social media spaces, right? If you've ever gone to these places like fucking Upworthy or BuzzFeed or ClickHole, maybe like to a lesser extent, and they all have like these, they're basically not really journalist spaces, and they're the ones that or Kotaku even, and Gawker and shit. Okay, and then you go to an article and it's basically there specifically to piss you off, and it's to talk about like racism and sexism in this specific place, and the headline is made to create outrage and get you all riled up, and you click on it to go read it or whatever. And you go to any of these, right? And you scroll down, and there's always like these fucking awful clickbait ads at the bottom. Have you ever noticed that? Like when you go there, you scroll down, it's like
lose 15 pounds this week,
Yeah.
Meet hot women, all that other bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're like, or they'll be like, nobody noticed these, these Marvel Cinematic Universe mistakes, and there's like a picture of Tony Stark with a fucking circle around his ear or some shit.
Oh, right, yeah.
And that the thing that is that I find interesting about that is that what they're talking about, I think, is that Trey Parker, Matt Stone. I think what they're talking about is that what most people would consider journalism is nothing more than essentially it's articles written specifically to get people to click on them, to make them out of outrage or out of maybe to get some emotional cachet out of it or whatever. But generally, though, outrage works better than happiness or what other emotion you get. But basically, it's an emotionally fueled article, and you go there And then you scroll down, you get all these other ads, right? And it gives them revenue. And now, of course, we know that that's true. We know that, like Gawker and Destructoid and all these other places, Destructoid too, yes. They're all there they just want to make money, right? But the way they go about it is like I remember a time when I used to go to IGN every fucking day. This was years ago. Okay, I used to go to IGN.com every day to get my news about video game stuff. And when I used to go there, they did not have those clickbaity articles at the bottom when you scroll down past whatever a piece that you were reading was. But if you go there now and you scroll down, they'll have things like, amazing weight loss, celebrities who have like, gained a bunch of weight, or I don't know, just shit like that. Just like, and they'll be related to the thing you were reading. Like if you read a thing about Star Wars and you scroll down,
targeted advertisements.
Yeah. And they'll try to sell you something, like and I was like thinking, okay, so I think that's what they're trying to talk about. They're trying to say that these spaces, not only are they politically driven, but maybe more than that, probably more than that, they're financially driven. They don't even really care about what it is that they're talking about.
No.
Well,
you got to look at there's two ways to look at it. Like online spaces have become such that they've had to kind of reimagine how to present advertising, and you get a lot of native advertising stuff now, which thanks to Gamergate, that stuff has to be disclosed now. It has to be completely labeled and clearly labeled, and you have to know what it is. They can't just hide it in there as like, oh, this is a real news story. But I think part of the thing is like with what you're saying is websites and advertisers have realized that taking the Inquirer type approach to it, a very tabloid approach to it, is a way to suck people in. It's like, you're missing out on these secrets. Oh wait, I'm missing out on something? I don't want to miss out on something, Yeah. It's like they use that, it's it's clickbait. It is what it is. But if you like, and this is all right, I'm gonna go down another rabbit hole right now, so forgive me if this is a little bit too tinfoily, but the thing that I've noticed, and something that has been kind of subtle within what's going on with South Park is, and something that, like I said, I've been noticing this for the last year, especially because of everything that's been going on. But if you look at websites are shutting down comment sections, and they're curtailing people's ability to speak and stuff. And it's like, why would they be doing this? And if you dig it down and you really think about it, and you see the stuff that's been going on, it's pretty obvious to me anyway, that what they're doing is they're trying to shut down comment sections and shut down people, so that since they're taking such a hit on advertisements, that they can basically run like native advertising and not have anybody call out that this is bullshit, which is happening a lot, and it's interfering with people's or these websites' abilities to run these stories as actual news and kind of dupe normies that don't know any better. So if they shut down comment sections, nobody can step in and say, hey, this article is a bunch of trash. It's fucking total nonsense. You should be wary of this and all that.
Yeah.
So, and that goes back to the whole ads thing. It's where they're, these websites are making their money through these fucking ads. And so they are, and what I was getting at was the idea that they're using PC culture as a means to bludgeon people with, so that they can facilitate these kind of actions, shutting down comment sections. Like, well, we have to have a catalyst for this, so let's use PC culture. And it's like, you kind of see that in South Park with the whole, PC principle kind of coming in and kind of infecting things. And it's like, and they're, shutting down people's speech and all this other thing, and the ads are taking over. And it's kind of funny seeing that develop on the show, because I was like, yeah, tell me something I don't know, It's like, come on. Yeah. It's like, but not everybody gets it. And I think they might have been even a little bit too subtle about it, honestly.
I think so too. Yeah. I wanted to say that I think that they may have, I don't know if they were playing it safe, or they were doing something that was a little too, like you said, a little too obscure, because when I would watch the episodes on South Park, the website, the Comedy Central website or whatever, where you can just watch them online. Yeah. I'd look at the comments section, and there were a lot of people who were just like, I don't get it. It's not funny. I don't get it. What's going on? And I'm like, oh my God, these guys should have probably been a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, so hey, Mike, welcome.
Mike.
I'm glad you came. Okay, you're no longer dead to us because clearly you are.
I thought you were starting at 6. Don't you normally start at 6?
No.
Time, whatever. Is it
Yeah. So that's okay. So there was a bit of a mix up on the kerfuffle on the time because I was setting up the show and then Max Darrett, he was like, "Oh, I think it's an hour too late because my time it's showing is this thing," and I was like, "Okay, so I guess I'll change it," and I did.
So
but
wait, Brian, are you saying blame Canada?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm blaming Canada.
Because blame Canada.
I'm in a different timeline. I'm in a different time zone, so I was doing it.
in a different timeline as well.
I may be.
We fucked up real bad here.
Well, considering everything that's been going on, I think I've been in a different timeline for quite a while now. It's like Bernstein Bears.
Jesus.
I'm pretty sure I see some kind of seal account swimming outside my bedroom window. And where is everything ocean?
So, Mike, I'm glad that you're here. We were talking about South Park season 19, and
it's been quite the ride, hasn't it?
It really has.
Yeah. You're a bit quiet, Mike.
Yeah,
is
you're
that
a
just
little
me,
low.
Brian?
No, he is a little bit low.
Okay.
Okay. I was recording. That's another reason I was late. I'm doing a song. Hang on. I'll tell you.
Oh, okay.
You have talents, Mike? No way.
I wouldn't call it that. It's a bit louder.
You have pursuits?
We need to turn up Mike's mic.
Right.
I have turned it up to what I think is
there you go.
No, you sound good. You sound good.
Yes.
Well, thanks for joining us, Mike. Regardless, I know that you're busy doing songs and stuff and your own videos, so I appreciate it. But did you watch everything? Like, did you watch all the whole season?
There's some that I've only watched once. Yeah. That's the low season for me. You know.
Oh, okay. And I wanted to. Okay, so what were your thoughts about? Well, I don't know. Like, just what are your general thoughts about the whole thing? Like, like the way that they talked about, PC Principle or the ads or even like the shit with like Whole Foods and how progressive their town was becoming and shit like that. Like, do you have any thoughts about those?
Yeah, well, like I said, I think I said this on a previous. Normally, they go into it like 6 days in advance and no more. Like they don't even know what they're doing until the Thursday before. But this time they took like half a year off, didn't they? Normally the season starts in March. But they sort of waited for a bit, and it's not as if they were doing another musical or something. So I think maybe they were actually, not necessarily scripting it, but maybe they were planning this in advance. That's why it's sort of. It's they've never done more than a 3-parter before, have they? Have they done a 4-parter? No, but this is a season-long parter, isn't it?
Right.
So you've got to watch them all in order.
Yeah, it's actually an entire arc.
Figured this out, They actually figured out an arcing plot. At least I did until they got to the very end, and it's kind of anticlimactic. But I think they often do that on purpose, don't they?
I think that that's what we were probably just discussing. Like, anticlimactic. Maybe, and I mean, I don't want to. This is what I think. The reason why it comes across that way is that by the time it's over, people who would have watched it, well, a lot of people may not have even gotten what they were trying to say. And it ended in a way that was like, wait, so PC Principle is going to be a regular character now? Or, I mean, that's not a bad thing because he is really funny. But, like, you almost expected them to really drive home the point that they were getting at. And there's, like, stuff that's still, if you're looking at this as an entire narrative, there are still some threads that are dangling, like, the whole thing with reality and, didn't they hang him, but he didn't really die, or people are saying he didn't die because he didn't shit his pants. Because that's what...
That's the thing no, he didn't shit his pants. He's definitely not dead.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't die because he didn't shit his pants.
But Chef did shit his pants, and he came back as Darth Chef. Well, he didn't actually come back, just the end of the episode. Shit your pants and still survive. Exactly.
Yeah, I guess you could, but reality didn't shit his pants, so I'm guessing he's not dead because based on that. And then there's another thing too. This is something that I was thinking. Okay, so when PC Principle learned that Leslie was an ad, or that something was wrong, he saw himself in an ad pushing Leslie on a swing, right?
Yeah.
So doesn't that mean that PC Principal is also an ad?
Yeah.
If he doesn't
He's part
remember,
of the problem.
Yeah.
See, that's what I was saying about how these things are working in conjunction with one another. Like advertisers are using PC culture as a means to push their ads. Because if they can shut down people talking in, comment sections, then they have free reign for the ads to come in, and
So when you say PC culture is pushing ads,
well, not knowingly. I think they're being used.
Right.
I think they're useful idiots for these people that are trying to make money, and they see how people are so knee-jerk reactionary about everything. It's like, oh well, we can use this to our advantage, and so they totally are.
So in the image where the PC Principal finds out that he's been used that way, he's literally pushing Leslie on a swing. So and Leslie's coming to the foreground. So he's pushing an ad.
Yep.
Without knowing it.
Yep.
Damn you fucking clever bastards.
Yep. Oh my!
I hadn't really thought of it that way. That's really interesting.
Well, rather than it's more like the ads are pushing the PC, right? And all the way through the season, like we were meant to think there was someone behind the ads, and that's what they were never really pointing to until right at the very end when it's Whole Foods.
Yeah.
I think that's their way of saying it's not Whole Foods. We can't tell you who it is, but it's
Right. There's some ambiguity there, yeah.
Ending, and you've got to figure out who you really think is behind the ads. Right? Okay.
That's also another meme. We were talking about the memes that have come out of season 19. So we know we got the UPC bro meme, and then there's the that's an ad meme, which I saw with Jimmy, which I've actually been using a lot when people post like stuff where they say, oh, this website said this about this game or about the like misogyny in this corner of pop culture or whatever, or they try to push shit like I just saw J.J. Abrams was in an interview and he said, I wanted to make a Star Wars film that I could bring my daughter to see, and I put a thing there saying that's an ad because that's clearly what it is, right? It is. Aside from the fact that that's complete bullshit, because I don't know about you, but when 1977, I don't recall any women trying to go see Star Wars that were told they couldn't go in because it's a boys' club.
Right, so, they needed permission to go.
Yeah, you're not allowed.
George Lucas said we could go, so I'm bringing my daughter.
Yes, J.J. Abrams made it official. I can go now.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, ladies, you can go see Star Wars now. J.J. made it okay.
Before J.J. Abrams made the film, ladies were not allowed to watch Star Wars. Now,
feminism
but it has to be Episode 7.
They've been liberated, finally, at last, free at last, free at last.
But that's an ad.
Various races that were offended by the blatant stereotypes in the prequels. Come back, all is forgiven. We're very sorry. All George's idea. The little blind blue Jewish guy. Yeah, that was all George's idea. Okay.
And then but then another one is, this one's really good too. There's another meme where PC Principal's looking at it's where the one where he's looking at the computer screen where he realizes that he's being used, and it's him like with his hands on his head looking like really panicked and upset, and then there's a flip side that shows a computer screen, and people have been putting different things in the computer screen. It's a really good one too. So
yeah, that one is good. That one is good.
So yeah, but no, I do you think that the South Park guys could have been more blatant in what they were criticizing? Do you think that using the ads thing was a bit of a cop-out? Like they kind of backed out when they could have been going after PC culture more hardcore?
Well,
I don't know
where it's coming from, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, we're very much of the opinion that feminism has a lot to do with it, because we don't have a network breathing down our throats saying you can't say that.
That's true.
Maybe they are looking at a much broader picture. I mean, picture is probably a lot broader than just gender politics. Well, certainly is.
Well, it could also be that they're setting something up for next season. But I wish they had been more blatant about it, though. I think they had a real opportunity. I mean, because it seems like, given their past history, this season has been, it's been somewhat scathing, but still it's been a little bit soft, and they haven't really gone at it as hard as they have in the past in other, given other circumstances. But granted, this is kind of a new thing for them, like you said, having done an arc throughout the entire season and not just been like a one-off here or there where they kind of have to beat you over the head with it really quickly. They're trying to, they're trying to meter it out over, what was it, 10 episodes? So yeah, maybe it's just a matter that they're not used to like a long form. Well, okay, that's not right because they've done fucking stage plays and stuff. So, but yeah, no. Maybe just adapting it to TV, maybe the doing the long form thing was a little bit odd for them, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. But I think they could have been a little bit. I think they could have been a little bit hardcore about it.
I wonder if because I remember there was a time a while back when they wanted to put Muhammad in the show, right. And
they put him in a bear suit.
Yeah, but the network was like, you can't do that, or they really didn't want them to do that, or something like that. I don't know what the story is exactly, but yeah. And they ended up kind of like getting around it, or not going as hilt deep as they wanted to, essentially. Right. And I wonder if this isn't similar in that regard, where they were like they really wanted to go after PC culture and all of the stuff around that, right. the progressive left, as it were, and they didn't. But that wouldn't really make sense, because in interviews they've said, we don't like conservatives, but we really don't like liberals, I think is what they said. Because they're not really, they're more libertarians, like in the middle of the road kind of guys that look at the individual issues probably, and they can't stand the whole PC culture thing. And why would you, if you want to do comedy, if you want to do storytelling and in the way that they do, and you want to be really edgy, on the one hand you don't want people like Bible thumpers telling you can't do it, but on the other hand you don't want like the PC police telling you can't do it either. Right. So it would only be natural that it would like piss you off. So I totally get that.
Well, I think
the Bible thumpers and the PC people have been sort of hashing it out between them, and the PC people won, didn't they? The Bible thumpers don't have any room to tell us not to do shit anymore, because the PC people are telling them not to do shit.
Pretty much, yes. The Bible thumpers have lost for the most part. They're in their own little pockets of the West, but they don't really have influence over the media like they used to at all. That's why, like, right. A lot of stuff like this is why, like, isn't like Chuck Norris, right? He's like a conservative guy, right?
He's a conservative Christian.
Yeah, he's a conservative Christian guy, and like that's why like Walker Texas Ranger comes on at like 11 o'clock at night on like one obscure channel and no one watches it, right? Because it's it's like it's not like Xena, which ran for like 100 million seasons, like so. Well, and like the rest of television.
Do you think it's a matter of people are just kind of fatigued at this point with the whole Bible thumping, thing, and PC is kind of like the new thing? And it's just people haven't gotten tired of it yet, like the cycle. Because if you look back, like you and I are both. You're 42, right, Brian? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you look, like, at least, well, when I think about it, when I look back, I see these things going in cycles. Like it's like probably like every 10 to 15 years, the PC culture thing starts popping up again, and each time it gets more loud and more aggressive. And the same thing with the Bible thumpers. It's like probably like every 10 to 15 years on a cycle. Now it just kind of keeps happening and happening, So. It could just be a result of people being fatigued of it, and they're just like, whatever, we're tired of hearing about your war on Christmas crap and all this other horse shit, because everybody's so blatantly bought into consumerism and just buying things all the time that just whatever, I'm gonna buy my stuff and fuck you, and so could be, I don't know.
It could be that. I think that when it comes,
say a thing so we can tell if we can hear you or not.
Oh yeah, Shannon's here.
Yeah, Shannon, you're muted. I'm sure that you're being oppressed by the mic.
In case we're trying to say a thing.
Go ahead.
Hello there, children.
Hey.
Hello, children.
Welcome to the show.
Am I loud enough? You said.
Yes. Yeah, you sound good now.
Okay.
Shannon, what are your thoughts on South Park 19?
I thought it was great for the most part. I agree that it kind of felt like a cop-out at the end, but I kind of feel like it had to be done because, the normies that were watching it, like, okay, so my husband trying to watch it. I'm laughing my ass off, right? And he's like, what? What is this? What? And so I'm having to explain all of it to him, and they had to go somewhere more satisfying with it that was more identifiable,
Yeah, that was like going back to what I was saying about how I would watch them online and I go to the comments section. There'd be people some people would actually be offended. Like they would actually, like with the Caitlyn Jenner thing,
the Caitlyn Jenner thing was amazing. I've used buckle up buckaroos more than I should.
No, I type it a lot too. Buckle up buckaroos is my favorite thing ever. I hope Caitlyn actually says it in real life. I'd fucking die.
Like the woman she ran over.
Yes.
No. Shots fired, everybody.
Stunning and brave. That's another one that people use a lot. So, but you know what? I wanted to speak to Scott's point briefly about how people that are the Bible thumper types, or like the religious right, or the authoritarian right, or whatever you want to call it. I want to say the authoritarian right. I think that's probably the best way to put it, because they're not just super religious people. I think that you're right where, in general, they don't really have a lot of influence anymore. Like, they still occasionally pipe up. They have their opinions. You see them in corners of, of the internet, on the parts of YouTube, or even on the radio. Like, you get your Rush Limbaugh types and stuff, and they have some crazy shit they want to say. And maybe even a couple of their arguments are reasoned, but by this time, people are so fed up with what, with the shit that they've said that nobody wants to hear, that even if they make good arguments, or if they've changed their views a little bit or whatever, it doesn't matter now, because most people have tuned them out completely. And I think that, but the advantage that the authoritarian left has, they do have an advantage, and the advantage is that they're generally more secular. They're generally like less reliant on religion, which people, because we're moving into a society that's like less and less religious all the time, because of that, I think that people dismiss the religious right very easily, because you could say, well, what you believe in is some shit that doesn't exist. Like, the whole concept of agnosticism and atheism is growing all the time. So whatever they want to push, they can't use God as much. This doesn't work, right? And people are really getting sick of it too, and of course, nobody really likes to be told what to do. But what the left has in their advantage, or the authoritarian left, is that they're not making arguments from religion. They're not making arguments from a sky father figure. They're making moral arguments. They're basically saying, if you don't believe in this thing, or if you don't say things this way, or if you don't use this kind of language, which, by the way, we've actually fucked around with the definitions of words, the definitions of terms. We fucked around with, we've basically broadened things, like, what does hard worker mean to you now? Well, obviously it means cotton-picking slaves, to the point where you can't actually speak on it. And you want to be a good person. You want to be considered morally righteous, or on the right side of history. So what you have an interest in doing is following what we have to say, and we have the advantage of not being not using something as clearly faulty as religion. So we can basically speak from a moral view. Like, are you a decent human being? Like, I just read a thing online today where somebody was saying that they were talking about the word respect, and how respect means it's about treating everyone like a decent human being, as opposed to being good to people, or treating or respecting someone for their authority, or for something that they've done. And so they're broadening the authorita, yes, authorita.
Yeah, there you
go. And so basically they're like broadening the definition of the word respect. Like, they're talking about it in a way that it means more than maybe it was originally supposed to. Where normally respect is something like, I used to say, respect is earned. It's not just given. Because if you give it to everyone, then it's not really respect anymore. It's just common courtesy. But I don't know. But I think that's basically what I'm seeing, and I think that's why PC culture is harder to fight against, because the sentiment sounds really good. It's appealing,
here's another facet to that too. If you look at this, when you're speaking against like authoritarian left type situations versus religion, the left can adapt their talking points to a larger group. Because if you're talking about religious people, they're like, oh, Christianity, this you're Christian, you do this, blah blah blah. They have these very very distinct set of rules or whatever you want to call them. It's like they have a very focused group of people that they're looking at. But if you're talking about authoritarian left, they can kind of curate what they're saying to fit and bring in other people. Like, oh, hey, look, we're working for you, LGBT. Oh, we're working for you, Hispanics, or we're working for you, minority this X, or they can cripple people or whatever the fuck it is. That they have a broader range, I think, in that regard, because they can bring in people that are secular and non-religious, and they're bringing in people from. They kind of throw this broad net out, this fishing net, and they can trap a bunch of different people instead of just this one select group of people.
And people that have, highly likely been kind of treated poorly by the religious,
right? Exactly.
So they when they go, the LGBT community, clearly, the right's out to get them because of same-sex marriage and so on. So the left says, hey, we got you. We want you to have the things that you're denied by these people. So that means you belong with us. Right. And it does work out that way. And I think that's just basically like what happens. It's like this. It's just another form of tribalism and collectivist thinking.
Of course.
Shannon, you wanted to say something? And since there's only 4 of us, you can just like pipe up if you want.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I just wanted to say how unbelievably triggered I am that you used the word cripple without my permission, you ableist fuck.
I did it for you, Shannon, I swear.
I thought that, isn't it Jimmy that said, I prefer cripple, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, Jimmy, shut up. I've been doing that longer. I have the trophy, man.
That was a shout out to you, actually, Shannon, because I know you have very hot opinions on that.
People get really upset about, how I react about that stuff.
Do they really?
Oh, yeah. Like, people get very offended for me.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like, would you just stop?
Yeah, no doubt.
I find it hilarious. I know you don't, but I do, so shut up. I make my own jokes. Like, not to get it off topic too much or anything, but I just did a video about, trophies and everybody gets a trophy and all that shit. Well, I felt I needed a prop for that. And so I found online for, like, really cheap a trophy of a guy in a wheelchair with his arms up in the air. Awesome. And the engraving was free, so I had it say Shannon, most valuable cripple.
MVC?
And awesome. And people were very, very upset about that.
Well, you know what I say, it sucks to be them.
Yeah, at least I have a sense of humor,
Fuck yeah.
But yeah.
That reminds me of a photo I saw once where they had there were these 2 black kids at this school, and they got trophies for being black kids in the school. It was so fucking bad.
That.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. And I was like, what the fuck, guys?
Right?
Come on. That's it's weird. That's that kind of racism that people generally overlook. It's
racism with a smile.
Yeah, it's like these incredibly low expectations that you have for people, and you just basically give them a pat on the back for something they had no hand in doing. Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
But, hey man, some people don't have hands, and that was ableist.
Yeah,
you really need to do something about it. Check your privilege and get your shit together.
Right.
Yeah, we've all heard of racist people. We'll see them in films and shit. Genuinely racist people who throw bottles at whatever race they don't like. I've never fucking met one in real life. The closest you come is a fucking football hooligan or something. But the number of people I've met who are the other kind, the sycophantic kind of racism, the kind of let's give trophies to black people racism. There's
Mike,
thousands of them. They outnumber the traditional racists fucking thousands to one, I swear.
Wait, you never met one, Mike?
Well, there's not many of them. We're
Oh,
not
no,
doing racism in Britain. You know?
Well, maybe where
We
you're
just
at.
hate our
but,
next door
like,
neighbours just because they're our
Yeah.
next door neighbours, regardless of their colour.
like I used to live in Georgia, and let me tell you, there was a lot of that smiling racism going on down there. There was a whole lot of that. It's like that Paula Deen kind of racism. It's like, oh, I got a nigga working in my kitchen. It's like, and they just don't see it, and they're just all smiling and happy and just throwing those words around like it doesn't mean nothing. And it's just,
That's how my grandparents were, actually. They were from Kentucky.
yeah, because they don't see a problem with it. They don't see a problem with
They
it.
grew up there, in like the 30s, so
Yeah.
it was completely different time. But yeah, they use nigger colloquially just
Right.
in conversation.
Yeah, that's just no. There's plenty of that around the United States, Mike, for sure. There's plenty
I
of
like
that
it. I like that it shows that I really don't care about political correctness, because I had no trouble saying nigger, but I can't say colloquially.
Oh, well, that just shows how bigoted you are.
Oh yeah.
Until
I
the word
forgot.
colloquial becomes a
pejorative?
It's
Say-
spreading.
a pejorative.
Yeah.
Yeah, which it can't be. Did you guys catch the I thought this was like a comment on white knighting, where is it Jimmy? He's trying to free Leslie from the newsmen because he's pretty sure that she's a good person, not an ad or whatever. And they're
he's
like,
thinking with
his dick is compromised.
Right.
That's your dick talking. And that she was able to use the boys to basically put her in this position of power. Do you think that the when they did that, do you think that Trey Parker and Messon were thinking about that stuff, or even like maybe, I don't know how closely they're following it, but could that have also been a bit of a commentary on people like Anita Sarkeesian or Zoe Quinn, which basically
Of course.
use other men that are willing to defend them on the internet for shit that they do.
It's quite
Of
elementarily
course.
connected to the pussy crushing thing. I mean, by then they'd already established that they're just in it for crushing pussy.
Yes, that's right.
So that's Jimmy getting his first taste of pussy crushing.
Oh God, that first taste of pussy crushing. Oh.
We can't forget the story of him and Nut Gobbler. Good old Nut Gobbler.
Oh, nut gobbler.
Oh my. What about and speaking of pussy crushing, the bit where this is all very topical, because I know that they had an arc in mind, like Mike said, but they were also putting in stuff that was relatively topical for the time, like there was the bit where PC Principal was like, we need to figure this stuff out. This is a safe space. Nobody can cross these lines, and he like set up, like he had like the
safe space.
Yeah, he had like the tape, around the
Police line
campus
tape.
or whatever. Yeah,
Right.
and they're in there, and that was basically like clearly a comment on all the shit that's been going on in college campuses here in the States lately, and it was great. And then like when at the end when I think it was Mr. Garrison and the old principal and Stan's dad and Caitlyn Jenner were like trying to get in. Caitlyn Jenner.
And he said, how'd you do that?
Yeah, he goes, you can't go here. It's a safe space. And they just go in. He's like, whoa.
You know what? That's another thing that kind of got a little bit lost. I thought that could have been that. Granted, they did some really on the nose stuff about it, but I think they really could have pushed that even more. And I hope they really kind of keep going on this line, because there's some juicy stuff that they could really start tearing into.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. I think that they really did kind of like. I mean, they may go. This could continue because the PC Principal character is still there, but and it's, unless they just forget what they've been doing. Like Mr. Garrison's still trying to run for president, and he still has Caitlyn Jenner as his running mate. Like they may keep going, but but as it stands, yeah, like they didn't. When you consider the stuff that was going on at Yale and Dartmouth and all these other colleges, like this is, to me anyway, this is like, that's really serious shit. These people are going to like lead the country like in their own way. Like they're going to move on to do great things, or like be in positions where they could do great or terrible things,
Right.
and this is the kind of stuff that they focus on. And I think that Trey Parker and Matt Stone made fun of it, but they kind of like, I don't know, they kind of dismissed it or just glossed over it. And
Yeah,
I
it felt
think
like glancing blows a lot of time this season. Like they could have hit it a lot harder, and it just kind of like just deflected off in a lot of cases.
yeah, because like okay, let's look at some of the older stuff. Didn't they do one about was it Mormonism or Scientology, where I'm sure they did
a
both.
bunch. Yeah.
But then there was one of those, I think it was Mormonism, where they basically throughout the whole episode they said they would have like a subtitle at the bottom that would say, you know, like, this is really what Mormons believe.
That was Scientologist. It was
a Scientologist.
Scientologist.
Yes, okay, it was that one, yeah. And they really gave it to the Scientologists, right?
Right.
I mean, they didn't pull any punches with that. And, you know, rightly so. I mean, there's some crazy shit going on there. But at the same time, how much influence do Scientologists have? Like, how dangerous are they? Are they dangerous?
Apparently pretty dangerous. I mean, they've got, you know, pretty ridiculous numbers of people that buy into that shit. Like, when I was living out in California, the girl that I was dating at the time, one of her friends actually got involved in it. And because she had just, like, had a really bad breakup with her boyfriend and was just kind of flailing around and ended up going into the Scientology Center in downtown L.A. And so it's like you have, like, they prey on vulnerable people, and there's no shortage of vulnerable people in the world. That's for damn sure. So yeah, I think Scientology is incredibly dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe their significance is waning, or, you know, but I mean, they're still there. They've still got tons of fucking money. Then, you know,
Yeah.
So I don't know, and especially when they have people like, you know, John Travolta and Tom Cruise and these other big celebrities that are, you know, proponents of the thing. You know, it's just like they're gonna get trickle in just from that, you know. So I think it's incredibly fucking dangerous, though, for sure.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, I mean, I could see how there's potential for threat. I'm more like thinking, well, if a Scientologist ever like gets into the fucking Supreme Court, then that won't happen though. I don't think that will anyway.
Well, that's an appointed position. You never know.
Who's more dangerous, Scientologists or Mormons? I mean, if you can imagine if Scientologists took over like Salt Lake City to the degree that Mormons would take over.
I would say Scientologists are more dangerous.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, just because, you know, Mormons are so passive generally, whereas Scientologists are kind of aggressive.
Scientologists are more aggressive. They're more openly. Well, I mean, they're not open at all, but you know, it's generally very well known that they use, you know, brainwashing tactics and, you know, real abuses.
Yeah, like they do a lot of strong arm stuff for sure.
They haven't managed to take over entire communities like the Mormons have.
Yeah.
But they have, they've taken over a lot of Hollywood. You know, it's just behind the scenes. They pretty much own a lot of it. And they own, like they have a lot of politicians in their pockets, is why I feel they're more dangerous than the Mormons, who are just weirdos taking over part of Utah.
No, Mitt Romney's a Mormon. There are other pretty big name politicians that are Mormons too.
Yeah, and they voted so well for Romney.
Well, yeah, but they're more. I think the thing with the Mormons though is they're a lot more subtle in their game than the Scientologists are. Yeah, Scientologists are way more heavy-handed.
Yeah, but just because the scientists are more dangerous, that doesn't mean they're just because they're more aggressive. That doesn't mean they're more dangerous.
Right.
I can see that.
Sometimes the softly approch is the one that takes over the world. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Watch out for them Mormons, man. You never know what they're hiding.
Yeah.
Their magic underwear.
What's the name of the alien that Scientologists?
Xenu.
Yeah, like I could draw a picture of Xenu and not get killed though. So there's that.
That's a good point.
That's
I could draw Jesus with I don't know, whatever the Mormon Jesus is, in American clothes with his coins. Is he?
It's Jesus.
Jesus in American clothes.
Actually, their whole thing was that Jesus came to America and was like hanging out with the Indians.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Although, yeah, the Scientologists can sue you with their armies of lawyers. But I don't know.
They sue you in Europe.
I think that the thing about it is, though, Trey Parker and Matt Stone had no problem criticizing both of those groups. And they even made a whole
criticizing any group.
No, they don't. No, they don't. But they usually go more hardcore than they did with the PC culture. I mean, they definitely made fun of PC culture in this series. But I really wanted them to go farther. Now, maybe it's because I'm kind of entrenched and I see, how annoying it is, and I really wanted them to leave a mark so bad that people were talking about the season for a while and be like, man, we might need to take a look at this. Because this is the thing that I find is really interesting about PC culture and the authoritarian left. They actually use media as a way to have these discussions. Like, they make movies and television episodes and cartoons and comics and spoken word poems and fucking YouTube songs that they wrote poorly and with the same chord progression and shit like that to start conversations. They use media, they use the arts to do it. And it's almost like they take that more seriously, those individual sort of anecdotal experiences. They take that more seriously than actual data to have conversations about race, gender, sexuality, whatever. So this would have been a really good opportunity for South Park to basically, give it to them using the media that they use to have those discussions. And while they did do it, I wanted them to go farther. I really wanted them to give it to them. I would have liked it if they specifically went after say, I don't know, like feminists at the UN talking about how they need to censor the internet, or because people think they suck and they're liars, shit like that.
It's kind of funny because they obviously, like you're saying, you wish they would have gone harder at people. It's like they kind of did, because they obviously are calling out Caitlyn Jenner for this thing. They're not even making any bones about that. So that's why it makes it even seem more like a missed opportunity. Because they weren't afraid to name them. Why can they go after other people too?
Yeah, but I mean, isn't Caitlyn Jenner a little bit easier because she's part of the whole Kardashian clan, which people generally make fun of.
It's because people actually know who Caitlyn Jenner is. If you ask a general, person who's not been dealing with this shit for as long as we have,
right?
If you ask a general person like that, do you know who, Brianna Wu is? Do you know who Zoe Quinn is? Do you know who Anita Sarkeesian is? They're not going to know who the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, I wouldn't
probably dilute things.
Literally.
So Caitlyn Jenner was more identifiable to a mass audience.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, it's quite possible that Trey and Matt themselves don't know about Gamergate or,
I don't know, man. They're pretty dialed into stuff, I think they probably do. They probably just don't think it's a big enough deal because it is a very niche thing. I mean, granted, it's gotten into the mainstream media and caused a lot of problems, but it's been kept kind of to the edges, as it were. But even though it's still had some impact here and there, but
the safe space thing, surely. The whole safe space. They must have witnessed one of them or several of them in action. To do the I went on the internet and said I was that's straight out of the Quinn handbook, surely.
Yeah, that's true. The safe space thing is well, I wonder if there was anything else going on at the time that they must have noticed it from there, or followed a couple of prominent feminists that were trying to create a safe space. They had to have known about that.
Yeah,
so I guess that's true.
Yeah.
So was I the only one that wanted to see PC Principal triggered to death?
Oh yeah, I thought so. You know what? I thought he was going to end up being like a robot, and that he'd have like this cognitive dissonance moment and just fucking explode. I thought for sure that was going to happen.
So triggered, like if someone made fun of a black disabled transgendered woman, and his head just explodes.
Do you guys think that it was a really great thing that PC Principal and all his friends were like straight white dudes?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, it's like I thought that was another missed opportunity, because it's like when you look at the people that are making this stuff into a big deal, it's always these privileged I hate to fucking use these terms and stuff, but it's like it's privileged white people that are trying to, white knight for everybody. It's like, oh, we're they can't speak. We'll speak for them.
It's privileged white, college.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah, but I think there should have been women involved in that too, though. I mean, just making them all dudes is a bit of a it's a bit of a missed opportunity to really point out the kind of people that are doing this stuff.
I think it's a tactical decision though, because you can't come straight in with it and say, "Hey, look what women and brown people are doing." Because then you're in the crosshairs of the threat narrative yourself. You got to show them that the people you deplore the most are the foot soldiers of this fucking ideology of yours.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, like, with what Mike was saying, like to go straight away and show that there are women and people of color, and I don't like using that term either, that are just as bad, and that to make it specifically a white male thing, it almost like still encourages criticism of straight white males, right? Like you can keep on them, and because they're like a special class of people, even within PC culture, that you can criticize. Like I personally don't like it when people say, the people who are the biggest ones that are like pushing and standing up like for minorities and the oppressed classes are straight white men, as though that's an argument. I don't like it because it distracts, personally, I find that it distracts from the fact that there are people within those groups that are just as bad, as those people, and that we're kind of giving them a pass when we do that. Like, it's almost like, well, it's okay to complain if you happen to be brown or female or gay or whatever. And I don't personally like that. I think that it should be the behavior that's criticized and not the people doing it, not the identity of the people who are doing it.
Well, maybe this was deliberate on their part. I didn't even think about this before, but it's like, right now more than ever, cis white males are the cause of all evil in the world. So maybe that, it's, well, the supposed cause, obviously, but, sarcasm. But maybe that was a deliberate thing, just to make them all white, heterosexual men. Maybe that was something that they were trying to push too, and they were just being a little bit too subtle about it, and I missed it because I'm not that smart. So there's that.
Plus, that's how you make a meme that worked. That you could throw at everyone. How you're acting like a straight white fucking college jock, idiot. PC bro.
Right, right.
You can throw it at anyone, any social justice warrior of any flavor. I'm like, aha. I don't know where to go then. Yeah, you're acting like a fucking college jock, dickhead. Right. If the college jocks are acting like you.
And I think that was the one thing that I took from it immediately, was that it's tribalistic, like college jocks. It's like this kind of like that group think. So it's like, to me that was the most obvious comparison, was like the whole PC culture they're fucking jocks. They're these frat house non-thinking. Everybody is toe the line. We all think the same. Everything's whatever. So yeah. I don't know. That seemed pretty blatantly obvious to me from the start, though.
How great was the consent forms with the principal, and he's like, they had like the sub forms for cunnilingus and all this other shit. That was good. Yeah. That was good. That was a nice, but again, is it
on the ball?
That was. I wonder if they stuck. I wonder if that one stuck too, though. I wonder if people just kind of like thought, well, I don't know what that is. Like, I remember there were a lot of people who were still like, I don't get it. What do you mean? Affirmative consent. I don't get it. What does that mean?
See, the thing I love about South Park, though, is a lot of times I've watched an episode, and when I was younger or something, and I wasn't as socially aware as I am now, and I would watch an episode and I'd be like, what the fuck are they talking about? What? And I'd go and look it up, and then I'd learn about it so I could understand the humor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and they've always been really good about that, bringing attention and drawing attention to social issues before anyone else does, really.
And they do it in a really sideways way, because they did Coney 2012, didn't they? Imagine explaining 10 years from now, someone who's never heard of Coney 2012, explaining their Coney 2012 episode. He's just jacking off in San Francisco. You remember? No, it's a long story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that was so great. That's so funny.
Another one that they kind of like, I think that's easy to miss, which is pretty interesting, is the one about the police and
Yes.
where it's the bums from first okay, so the kids, they all start playing ninjas, which are totally gay, you guys, and then they start playing in, is it Shitipa Town? Is that where it was?
Shitty Town.
Yeah. Or no, is it? No, Soto Sopa is where.
Yeah, it was Soda Sopa because everyone moved to Shitty Town.
Yeah. And they're all playing ninjas there, and
And it was
the homeless gets driven away because they think it's ISIS, and they get rid of, like, was it the cop who accidentally shoots the boy?
Bar Brady.
Bar Brady, yes.
Officer
And,
Bar Brady.
yeah, they decide to get rid of him, and you have this whole thing about police brutality and, like, misunderstandings. And basically how, and I think they didn't, like, again, they didn't go in and say it, but they kind of alluded to the idea that, there are incidents where police shoot people on accident, or, like, things are not as clear cut, but because the town is trying to be really progressive, they make the assumption that, it was done for, reasons that are most nefarious possible, even though Bar Brady was going into a situation without knowing what was going on, and then he accidentally shot the Hispanic kid. And that got him fired. And then they get rid of all the cops, and then they need him back because of ISIS, but the cops won't do it unless they're allowed to beat up on minorities. So there's a little bit of a criticism on both sides, right? And that was kind of interesting, but another pretty good episode. Also, the what was it? The one with Craig and Tweek?
The yaoi? Called the yaoi?
Yeah.
Which apparently the Craig and Tweek yaoi has been around for a long time.
Really?
It wasn't just created for this episode, because when I heard about it, because I follow South Park on Twitter, and they were asking for yaoi, and so I went and looked it up. I'm like, oh, good lord, I gotta see what the hell this is, and I was seeing things like a few years back. People posting their drawings and stuff.
Yeah,
and
if
I'm
you go
like,
on DeviantArt,
wow.
there's yaoi of everything, though.
Yeah, everything and anything yaoi.
Yeah, it's yeah. See, and that's what I was saying before. Like, these guys are pretty well dialed into this kind of stuff. So I think they probably know. It's just a matter of how they address stuff is all, Like yaoi of all the things. But I mean, that's great though, because that just fits into the whole absurdity of South Park in and of itself. It's like yaoi is just such an absurd, silly ass thing that it totally makes sense that they would do something like that.
Yeah, but there was a little bit of PC commentary in that episode too, because, like, weren't Tweek and Craig just getting free money for being gay? And they were like, everybody thought it was so great that they had to talk about it, and they had to make it into a big thing. Yeah, here's some money. Yeah, they're totally, like, giving to their Patreon just because they're gay. And they had to. They didn't just have to accept it. They actually felt the need to
embrace it
and be really enthusiastic about it.
Right. Because it's a new thing. It's the new hot thing. It shows how tolerant we are.
But that takes us back to Death Camp of Intolerance or Tolerance or whatever. Forever ago. They've always kind of dealt with this kind of stuff, like. When Mr. Slave and Garrison were together, right? And Garrison was trying to get fired for being gay, and he just kept, getting worse and worse and worse and more out there. And everyone's like, oh, so brave, so brave. And so finally they go to the, Museum of Tolerance or whatever, and he rides in on Mr. Slave's back on a saddle, with dressed as a, like, Vegas showgirl, and people are just clapping. He's like, "What is wrong with you people? It's called tolerance, not acceptance. You don't have to like it."
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorite South Park moments.
Oh.
Do you guys think that they're going to continue, like, with this, because PC Principal is still around? And I guess he's on some quest to destroy all the ads or something. Do you think that they're going to continue with this arc in the next season, or do you think they're just going to?
I don't know, man. I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know. Like, I wonder how much the ratings affect it. Yeah, but I think they're definitely gonna call back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're gonna. It depends on how the ratings are this season. If it, like, I would imagine that would have some kind of an influence whether or not they're gonna do an arc like they did this season next time.
They're in the business of looking around for stupid shit happening in the world and sending it up. And and they look at PC culture and they see quite a lot of material. I can guarantee you guys, you'll get a lot of material out of this. I am.
Yeah.
Stupid's not just going to disappear tomorrow.
This season may have been them setting up the new wave, the new era of South Park, where we try to address all this shit that's been going on in the progressive left while we've been mocking religion.
Absolutely.
Like Mike said, it just depends on what happens next. I mean, there's no lack of stupid in the world, so they're gonna have plenty of material for sure.
And last season was kind of, it was kind of an arc, but not as much, you know.
Oh, I don't know. What was it about? I didn't watch it.
Oh God, are you? What is wrong? Go, bad. Watch. Bad dog. No, there was an overarch with like Randy is Lord, like the singer, and Lord, oh Lord. But also there was this whole overarch with everything's gluten free, and like like with Mr. Mackey comes in and he's like they're doing a meeting at school, like, you know, a staff meeting, and they brought donuts and everything for the staff to eat, and they're like, oh no, Mackey's just gonna go on about gluten, you know, da 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 da. And he comes in and he's like, oh, I can't eat these. These have gluten. You know, gluten causes every illness. Gluten's bad. You know.
Makes your dick fly.
Yeah.
It actually makes your dick fly.
It'll make your dick fly out. And so, yeah, they that whole
Wait. Who says that?
Mr. Mackey. But then later in the episode, they like have this like, you know, there's a big town meeting because everyone's freaking out about gluten, and so this like scientist guy, I think he's from the FDA, comes in. He's like, no, you know, gluten is just, you know, a wheat protein or whatever, and it's not that big a deal. Look, and he like condenses it down out of some wheat to pure gluten, and he's like, see, it's just this, and it's this little, you know, Dixie cup, and you know, Mr. Mackey's like, then drink it. You know, and he drinks the freaking gluten, and he's like, "No, see, I'm fine." And then his dick flies off like a fucking rocket and just takes off around the room, and it's like banging into shit. And Mackey's like, "Yep, see, gluten." It was amazing, and so the whole season they were talking about gluten free, like. You know, Randy's upset and drinking a beer, and he's like, it's okay, it's gluten-free. So there was a lot of overarching, but it wasn't like a continuous story. But if you didn't watch the earlier episodes in the season, you wouldn't get some of the humor later in the season.
Okay, so were there any callbacks in this season to previous seasons?
The gluten thing came back.
When did that?
Thing again. Like, they didn't actually talk about it. There was this I think there was a passing line about something being gluten-free. So.
Oh, that was probably from the episode about the Yelp episode?
I think so.
Where the Yelp episode's good, too, because it's basically what was the whole point of it was that I think they were using Yelp to make a point that everyone thinks that their opinion is the most important opinion, and that's basically like a really, you know, a great observation of just like sort of, I don't know, people. In a way, it's PC culture, but it's also just general like human culture.
Yeah, it works no matter which site you're on, even YouTube.
Yeah,
it's a cautionary tale for us all. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I just want you to know that we're Yelp reviewers.
You know, I actually made a Yelp because I was so mad about an IHOP.
What? Oh, really?
Okay.
Oh,
No, I
go
was go on. Okay, so me and my husband are kind of way too obsessed with IHOP, right? Because IHOP is amazing. And so the closest one we had was always like an hour away, and it was like, okay, it'd be that random like late night, like, hey, let's go for a fucking drive and get pancakes kind of thing. And so we got one recently in our city. And so we were all excited about that, right? And we went there, and it was just god awful. Like, the service was awful, the food was awful. They brought us the wrong shit. It was cold, and I was so upset because I was like, I love IHOP so goddamn much, and they ruined it for me that I made a Yelp and I made a review.
It's the ultimate consumer fighting back is making a Yelp account.
Right? Their Yelp reviews are awful. It's so bad.
Oh yeah. Did you write like a 5-page like thing that just like describes, in intricate detail like your experience from
not
service
5 pages? No.
Or was it just like you trying to figure out how many adjectives there are for shit, and then using them, how many different ways you could criticize them, and in the most hilarious way possible? Like, I think that there are people who review things online, and their whole goal is to try to make it as hilarious as possible as they bash the shit out of whatever it is they're reviewing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
they just open up a thesaurus and they go to work.
Well, it's kind of funny though, because if you look at it, the Yelp thing. Remember the what was it, the diner out in the Midwest somewhere that wouldn't serve gay people or something, and
yes.
So everybody brigaded. They, as part of that call out culture. And Yelp has turned into that kind of, an extension of that kind of call-out culture, of that PC call-out culture, where people are like, oh yeah, well we're gonna bash you, and it's the whole like be real shame if somebody said you was a racist on the internet, and then or said something you don't like feminist, something like that. It's like that whole kind of that mob kind of strong arm kind of fucking Guido kind of thing. And I can say Guido because I'm a Guido, so don't shame me. So
there you go.
That's not PC, bro.
I know, right? I'm a Guido. Fuck it, whatever. My grandmother, she's from Sicily. I'm a Guido. I can say things like that.
Hey, you
you guys. Yeah, all right, yeah. So yeah, it's like it's the call out culture. Like Yelp is call out culture, but on the internet and specifically to food. So
see, I didn't feel like it was like, oh, now I feel bad for doing it.
Oh shit. I'm sorry.
Well, fuck it. They needed to fix their shit. Apparently, because I was reading other reviews, right? And, usually I discount the ones that are just like, everything is awful. I hate everything. Yeah. It was the worst service, and the water wasn't good, and they didn't wipe my ass. I don't care about those reviews. But when I read a review that an elderly man shit himself on the way out the door, and they just kind of left it there and let people walk through it and trail it through the restaurant. Yeah, I'm probably not going there for a while.
Wait, was that a real thing?
Yes. I can send you the screenshot. I took a screenshot because I was like, oh my fuck.
Okay, wait, this was at an IHOP?
Yeah, an IHOP.
So, at an IHOP, I just need to say this again because I want to say it. An elderly man shit himself as he was walking out the door. And
apparently he shit himself near his booth, or in the booth, and walked it all the way.
And he walked out the door trailing out of his pant leg.
Yes.
And didn't notice or didn't care. And then the restaurant also didn't care. And people had to go in there and eat pancakes and blintzes with a shit trail.
I don't think
they walking in the door were walking through it, and their best solution was to put up a wet floor sign inside.
And they just put a wet floor sign, like a example you might slip on shit, old man shit on the way out.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Was he a priest?
I have no idea.
That's fucking crazy.
But you know, it's those kind of reviews where I'm like, okay, you know, I don't think I want, you know, any shit-borne diseases along with my pancakes. So I think I'm gonna drive the hour to the one that doesn't suck. That's how I'm gonna do things.
Well, and that's the problem though with call-out culture and actually, you know, where Yelp could actually be a legitimate thing where it could help people make decisions, but then you have people abusing it though.
Right.
And that's kind of that all goes back into the whole PC culture thing where, you know, there might be legitimate discussions to be had, but when we turn this into, you know, Gamergate is Hitler and ISIS and AIDS and cancer of the eyes and the rectum, and then it's like, what? Well, calm down. It's like, you know, you lose a lot of the efficacy of a discussion when you start turning it into these Yelp kind of call-out things. You know, it's just like you miss what needs to be fixed or needs to be addressed, and it just becomes about outrage again and about PC culture. And so, yeah.
Wow. Do you guys think that, and this is a bit of a side note, but you're just talking about all this mob stuff, that this is...
Oh, they ain't no mob. What are you talking about? Hey.
Hey, yo, wait.
This reminds me of...
I'm a very active participant in commerce.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. The chat just fucking cracked me up. I plop.
Oh. Damn.
That was great.
I was just gonna say this reminds me of the situation with Thunderfoot and Laughing Witch, and where he showed her business, and the mobs went to her page and downvoted her shit. But then again, she tried to do that to him first. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to speak directly to that, but that is another. I don't want to ignore those things just because they happen to people that we don't like. So
yeah, you got to hold the same standard across the board, no matter who it is.
Exactly. That's what I was basically getting at.
Yep.
So, but
sometimes a mouse pokes a giant, you know, and the mouse has to go right up to the giant to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the giant's just going to swing his foot, going, "What the fuck's happening?" He's going to fuck the mouse up just by swinging his foot. That's how it works. Some of us are giants, some of us are mice.
What is it? The boot cares not for the ant or whatever it is. I forget how the saying goes.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's just like Mike said. I agree with that. It's funny. I saw. You guys watch the stream where I think it was Sargon who was on there talking with Laughing Witch and Jen McDermott.
I could not deal with that shit. Like, usually I can, get past it and swallow it down and just deal. Oh, God, that sounded so...
It was fucking hilarious, man. I was dying.
I just can't deal with Jenny McDermott. Every time I see her, I want to punch her in the face.
No, Jenny McDermott was the funniest thing about it.
We do not advocate for violence here at Honey Badger Radio.
No.
Not, against
I said I
names.
want to. I didn't say I would.
Yeah. No, Jenny McDermott
The most I do is run over her foot.
She was one of the funniest things about it because she was so random. I was like, do you even care what you guys are talking about? Like, she would just pipe in suddenly and be like, do you guys want to hear how cute my mom is?
You know what the problem with her is that she's one of these people that doesn't really have a point. She's one of these people that got positive reinforcement because maybe, it's like maybe she was attractive to, like, this is just my, thing, it's not like, set in stone or anything, obviously, but this is what it seems to me. It seems like she got a lot of positive reinforcement on YouTube, and she just doesn't really have anything to say, but she's talking just to talk to keep getting that positive reinforcement because people keep giving her like, yeah, go Jenny, you're awesome, that kind of thing.
I think it's because she doesn't have any friends.
Maybe. I don't, I can't speak to that, but yeah, I definitely see a lot of she's kind of got like these, people on there just puffing her up, and her ego is just getting in the way, and she can't really speak to things in an intelligent manner. Like when she's talking, I'm just like, what the fuck are you on about? I mean, she just seems like a fucking moron, really. I mean, just to be right to the point about it. Yeah.
I don't see her Twitter feed anymore because I got blocked for repeatedly telling her she has AIDS. Thank you, Mike.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive she has no AIDS.
Right. You said that was a rumor in one of your videos. Which,
yeah, maybe. We don't know.
And many memes came out of that for me, and I had a lot of fun with it.
Damn.
Yeah,
But
she
I-
sent one on to me saying, "This is what your supporters are doing." Yeah, it's fucking Shannon. She rules. You got AIDS.
Oh.
Wow, you guys.
What do you mean, you guys?
You people. What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people? But there was, when I was watching that, though, there was something else that I thought was really funny. It was like Laughing Witch. Her husband was talking, and he sounded like one of these people that doesn't really spend any time on the internet. Like, they're older, right? And I just picture them as people who don't really like the internet much, or they don't spend a lot of time there, especially her husband, because he's probably busy working a real job or running a company. And, Laughing Witch just, like, goes online and make videos. And she was talking, her husband and Sargon were talking about, the stuff that was going on surrounding the issue with their Laughing Witch's husband's business. And he was like, the husband, he was like, I went over to the 4chan boards, and I looked around, and I was doing research for several weeks about what was going on with the 4chans, and I found out something about Chan culture, and basically he was using that, like the fact that he was like going undercover into the Chans to find out what was going on with the company. Yeah, the 4chans.
It's like people saying the Walmarts.
Yeah, the Walmarts. Exactly. But
I'm going into the heart of the MRA now.
into the heart of the MRA.
I'm having a heart attack. Get out of my heart.
But I mean, I'm not saying that that's exactly what he said. Don't quote me verbatim, but he basically was talking about going into 4chan. But he sounded like somebody who has no idea what that is, and that he was over there exploring it. And I started making jokes about how he would come back to her like after some time, spending some time there, and he was like, to Laughing Witch, honey, I found out something about the 4chans. I understand that they do when I asked them why they do what they do, they said they do it for the lulz. And I want to know if you know what lulz is. I think they're coming for our lulz. You want to look up the lulz? How many lulz do we have left?
Oh,
The consequences will never be the same.
You know what? He's like the Did you guys see the thing where the guy at Yale was getting people to sign a petition to get rid of the First Amendment?
Yeah.
Or things like that. Or not? No. I'm sorry. Not that one. The women's suffrage, trying to end women's suffrage. Do you remember that one? And people were like, yeah, let's end women's suffering. It's like, and they don't get it. They just are fucking clueless.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, women's suffering is bad. No, women's suffrage. Yeah, oh yeah, that. It's terrible. Let's get rid of it. It's like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
It's like it's exactly right. There's that misinformed sort of perspective. So I had this hilarious like ongoing thing where Laughing Witch's husband is trying to figure out what lulz are so that he can lock them up tight so that the 4chans don't come for them. Because if they run out of lulz, who knows what's going to happen after that?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
I mean, our lulz are in danger.
That would be like losing all our dank memes. I mean, come on. Oh, Christ.
Yeah, exactly. I hear they're looking for rare Pepes. Do we have any Pepes?
I figured out their military system.
Pepes.
It's 5 lulz to a kek. 10 keks to a lul? I don't know.
So do women make 7 lulz for every man's kek?
Yes. Women make 7 lulz for every kek a man earns. They're coming for your keks. And 10 keks is a rare Pepe.
Oh God. Oh, we're just breaking so much ground here. I swear.
These things, they exist in limited supply, obviously, and 4chan wants them all.
Why would they be called rare if they weren't rare? I mean, that's crazy.
Yes, this is why they formed the Chans, so that they can steal people's lulz, keks, and Pepes.
Right, they gotta protect the Pepes.
5 lulls to a kick. It's fucking awesome.
Dude, it reminds me. Oh God, it reminds me of a buddy of mine. He always shows me this thing. It's there was this cartoon, and I can't remember what the fucking cartoon was, but it's like this little bunny character, and he's on the internet, and he goes, "Wait, what do you mean? People on the internet lie? Why would they do that?" It's some cartoon for like fairly recent history. It's a kid's show. Oh God, I gotta find it. I'll find it.
So somebody said
probably Gumball or whatever the fuck it's called.
Mike,
No,
somebody asked
No.
how many keks to one internet? Because we need to know how you get an internet. Because if they get your internet,
you don't earn internets. You win them.
Yeah, exactly.
You can steal. I think you could steal an internet. I think you can steal them.
You could steal one, but only from someone who had already won it.
You wouldn't download an internet, would you? I mean, come on, dude.
Yes.
I need to get the expansion pack for the internet.
You wouldn't 3D print an internet, would you?
Oh my God. So yes, but this is how you now. I encourage you all. If you speak to people who don't know anything about the Chans,
It was Buster from Arthur. Thank you, Max.
Buster from Arthur.
Yeah.
If you speak to anyone who doesn't know anything about the Chans, and they want to know what it's all about, you let them know they're coming for your lulls. So you have to protect your lulls.
And the Pepes. Protect the Pepes as well.
And the keks.
And the keks, yes.
And the internets.
And your internet. You have one. You only get one when you start.
Started on the cheeseburgers.
I heard you can has those.
Do you has to get bucket first, though?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. How does this work? This is so complicated. It's our dangerous place. Look out, everybody. We're going to do a back trace.
Oh my God. We're going to need to adapt the does she know she's an ad thing.
Oh, yes.
To us, it's going to be, do they know their memes?
Yeah.
Does she know she's an ad? Yes. So we need to
think, right, of all the memes out there, like Good Guy Greg or any of those memes, they walk around in cities all the time and people pass them all the time.
Yeah.
Bad
Luck Brian. Bad Luck Brian, actually.
Was that Scumbag Steve? I swear to fuck, that was Scumbag Steve. And Scumbag Steve just walks around with people all around.
I guess Bad Luck Brian kind of made a little career out of it doing YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
cashing
really?
in on it.
Huh.
I mean, why the fuck not? If you become a meme, dude, go for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the crazy ass girl too. She did.
I don't know his name, but I want to see a current picture of that. Was it the martial arts nerd kid? And he's in the red karate gi, and he's got the glasses and the pimples and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go find that right now.
I gotta find him.
Actually, I saw something recently about that where people they tracked down all the people from these memes and stuff and actually showed current pictures of them.
You can kind of do that with Know Your Meme.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, you can find the origin and what it actually is.
Right.
Yes. Well, anyway, we got to wrap up the show. It went good, a good length. We talked about season 19. Before we go, I wanted to say to Max, I'm sorry I never used the clips. All I had when I downloaded the link was full episodes, and I don't know that I could have fished through all of them for individual clips. So I thought we would just talk about in the abstract. I hope that you're not mad at me. But
his sister's doing okay also.
What?
Hope his sister is doing okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Speedy recovery.
Ultimately, not that big of a deal. We had a good time, and thanks Mike and Shannon for jumping in, and talking.
That's triggering. I can't jump.
Ableist. Brian is ableist.
Can't you do a handstand?
And my name's Moke.
No.
That's triggering.
So true.
Oh my god, now I have to make a meme of you, and you will be ableist Doge, and it will just be all the awful things you say.
Well, I mean, you've never seen the Doge walking, have you? It's always laying down like this, so it may be disabled.
Makes a good point. I think we're going to have to do battling Doges next week, Brian.
Oh no.
Cripple Friday.
Now that I too have a Doge at my disposal.
Oh no. Well, I will outfit mine with accessories. So that we don't look the same.
Doge accessories. That was so lame. I'm
That was
sorry
pretty
about
bad.
that.
That's okay. You get no lulls. You get no lulls for that.
Damn, I only needed 2 more before I got a CAC.
All right,
You're
guys.
closing the wage gap.
Yeah, that's the way.
Closing the wage gap, 1 cripple at a time.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on. If you have any thoughts about South Park Season 19, do you think that Trey Parker and Matt Stone went far enough? Do you think they could have gone further in the way that they discussed it? Or would you have liked to have seen them do it a different way? Or do you think they did just fine and they're going to follow up with more interesting stuff? How do you like the characters, PC Principal, Caitlyn Jenner, and any of the other ones that may have popped up? The guy from the fucking Whole Foods that was like, would you like to donate $1 for hungry kids today?
Hang on, can I address something in the chat?
Yeah.
Yes, that is why I can't walk. My breasts are just too heavy. Thank you.
Well, and now I've been enlightened.
Have you heard of a concept called the suspension of
Disbelief. Damn it, you guys! Oh, I keep forgetting to do it. Well, anyway.
Well,
That's
for
my
now,
thing.
it's
I was the
2000
suspension of disbelief guy. Damn it! Damn
Yeah,
it. I
we're
had
taking
one
it from
job.
you.
I knew you're stealing my job.
Go on.
My first thought was to say go on, but I thought, oh, I can't say that. I'll say something else. Oh, god damn it! I can't do anything but tick your gerb.
Tinker gerb. Tinker gerb. Well, you guys can do that. It's 2015, go.
Yep. It is.
Not so much
for the
longer.
next hour. Mike, are you going to be on the show on Thursday?
I think it's gonna turn 2016 before I'm even on the show.
Oh fuck. We gotta like make sure that we want to get someone to say it's 2016 before on the air before Justin Trudeau can say it. So it's just because that way we get dibs.
I think if it starts at the usual sort of Thursday time, then that'll be like 2 a.m. my time.
Yeah. All right. Well, you'll still get to say it before Justin does. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
And
good.
I will.
Good.
I will plant my flag in that territory.
Damn right. Okay.
I'm more progressive than Canada will ever be when you think about it. 6 hours exactly. More progressive.
All right. Here's where we leave. So guys, yeah, give us your thoughts. Thanks for sticking around this long, and have a good rest of your day.